So, Electricity, directed by Bryn Higgins, starring Agnes Dean, who's going to be, now the lead in Sunset Song, which I think, have they finished filming Sunset Song, which is the new Terence Davis film, which I'm really, really looking forward to. And on the basis of this, there's going to be a lot to look forward to. So she plays Lily O'Connor. This is adapted from Ray Robinson's novel, very good screenplay, incidentally, by Joe Fisher. She plays a character living in a northeastern sea town who has a sort of a problematic family past. She's also dealing with epilepsy. At the very beginning of it, her mother has died, and the house is going to be sold. And she has a brother who hasn't been seen for a very long time, who she decides actually deserves part of the inheritance, despite the fact that not the rest of the family think that's a particularly good idea. And so she thinks that what she will do, pardon me, is go to London in search of him. This is going to present many problems, not least because she needs to be in a safe environment because of her condition. Here's a clip.
People know you're here. You know? You're safe.
I have epilepsy, is all. Should have done this 10 years ago.
Nah. You weren't ready, love.
I'm not leaving forever. Okay? Just till it's sorted. And I phone make it.
Just be careful, though.
So what happens is, on the one hand, you have this sort of fairly straightforward story of a girl looking for her brother in the mean streets of London, and sort of out of her depth, but trying to find how she might find him, going to somebody who's sort of a professional at tracking these kind of people, but also just asking people on the streets, going around with a poster, have you seen this boy? And during the course of that, there are a couple of sort of rather cute narrative contrivances which take her from one place to the next. Somebody takes her in, a friendship develops, and some of those, I mean, they work fine, although they're perhaps a little too pat. However, during the course of this, her narrative, her life is interrupted at regular intervals by the onset of seizures, which are represented on screen. Cybele is the cinematographer, by these quite fantastical sort of hallucinogenic, electrifying displays, which go some way to attempting to visualize what might be happening during, for example, a grand mal seizure. Now, in making the movie, there was significant input from the Epilepsy Society, and the film, I think, does a very good job of putting you inside the head of its protagonist, of making you understand her struggle and her quest and her desire to find her brother and her desire to find her way on the streets of London. And it also makes you feel the cuts and bruises that she acquires whilst falling when it's suddenly struck by a seizure, and also to understand her experience of the world as seen from that of somebody dealing with epilepsy. And you get, like her, you get fed up with the endless ambulance drives, which she says, I hate ambulances, because she doesn't want to be doing that. What she wants to be doing is looking for her brother. A terrific performance by Agnes Dean, I have to say. I thought I was completely won over by it. It's a very sort of out there, sort of full-on performance. It's kind of raw in a way which it needs to be to deal with the subject, although the film itself has got a very gentle, a very sympathetic, a very compassionate and understanding soul. As I said, visually, I thought it was excellently done. It's very hard to kind of draw the audience into that world, and I certainly haven't seen it done as well as this before. I thought it really kind of made you understand her experience, and that, I thought, was enough to get round the problems of the fact that the narrative itself is perhaps slightly too pat, has perhaps one or two contrivances that are just too neat, just too fortunate in order to move the narrative forward. So very, very strong performance, very good job of direction and writing, and terrific stand-up performance by Agnes Dean. And as I said before, this bodes very well for the future performance in the Terence Davis. As you know, I'm a huge Terence Davis fan. I mean, I think he's one of our great filmmakers. So a real surprise. Didn't know much about it at all before seeing it, and a very interesting piece of counter programming against The Hobbit, because it's the kind of thing that you want to. I don't want to see The Hobbit. Let's go and see that.